Very good morning, everyone. This is Kevin Davids from DataCore Software. I'm joined this morning by Jason Daly, a Business Development Manager at Hammer PLC. Our webinar today is How and Why to Sell DataCore. I'll hand over to Jason shortly, but before I do, just a couple of housekeeping notes. Because of the number of people that we've got registered this morning, thank you very much. It's always nice to get a really good number of people on a webinar like this. Because of the number, we are keeping you all on mute. Obvious reasons, background noise can be a little bit deafening. Now, that's going to make asking questions a little bit trickier. So what I would ask you to do is use the questions panel or the chat facility on GoTo. And just type in the questions that you'll have. What we'll do right at the very end of this webinar, and we're on here for 25 minutes or so, at the very end is we'll go through those questions, and if there's a reasonable number, we'll answer them there. And then if we've got loads of questions to go through, then what we'll do is we'll respond via the medium of email, copying everybody in so you'll all get a good response to those. So, without any more to do, I shall hand over to Jason, and let's get cracking.
Good morning, everybody. Jason Daly here, Business Manager for DataCore at Hammer. So, I just wanted to quickly go through the agenda and then move swiftly on, so you all get to where you want to be. So we're going to just have a little chat shortly about Hammer for those people that have not dealt with us before, just to give you an overview there. And then we're going to cover off, obviously, the reason why we're here, why DataCore, customers that DataCore have dealt with in the past, opportunity spotting, what's in it for you, routes to market, Sans Symphony V, and the product line and how we support you and the product line. So just to give you a brief overview of Hammer, we have been a dedicated storage distributor for over 20 years, and what that means in real terms is that we do not really get involved in selling things like printers, laptops, monitors, etc. We solely focus on storage solutions, storage subsystems and everything that goes with that. You'll see from the slide here that we have won Storage Distributor of the Year every year since 2004, so hopefully that gives you a good idea that we are a distributor worth talking to. And we've recently been listed in the HSBC fastest growing companies in Britain. That is publicly traded, privately owned, companies in Britain. And I just wanted to perhaps run through with you where we have some success and where we've come from in the past. Traditionally, we have focused on various different vertical markets. We have increased our expertise in these markets, understanding those vertical markets and what products from our portfolio fit those vertical markets. And that makes us a very strong and stable distributor to deal with. So you'll see on this slide some of the areas where we have played in the past, areas like military and telco, etc. And hopefully that gives you an idea of the kind of expertise that we have within the storage arena. So moving swiftly on to the interesting stuff and why we're all here, we're going to have a quick look at DataCore. So one of the key things about DataCore is being able to differentiate yourself from your customer, sell something which is a little bit different, stand out from the crowd, which gives you an opportunity to maximize revenue, maximize margin. DataCore are also a channel-only vendor, so that helps you guys as resellers know that you are protected in your opportunities with ring-fence deal registration, margin protection, etc. The thing with DataCore is, obviously it's a software solution, so it's nice and flexible. You can design a solution to your exact customer needs, meaning that you can actually go away and you can reignite some of these virtualization projects where perhaps some of the tier 1 vendors were perhaps too expensive or too complicated for the customer, or their bundle simply didn't suit the exact requirement for the customer. So this is a real design as you go solution. UK based, we're doing this webinar from Reading in the UK, where DataCore have got a 24/7 technical support centre. So as resellers and end users of you guys, you're well supported from that aspect in the UK. And of course DataCore have got all the relevant alliances with virtualization vendors such as VMware and Citrix, etc., and certifications to match that. So, you've got a nice rounded vendor which gives your customer the solution that they need, but also gives you the support and opportunity to make some money, which I think is obviously of vital importance for us all. So, just a little bit of an overview of where DataCore fits. Because of the flexibility that DataCore offers, you can go after your smaller companies, SMB, etc., all the way up to the enterprise, and also into cloud service providers as well. You'll see here that DataCore software have been in business for over 13 years out there in the marketplace. So they have a very stable product. They have a lot, as you can see, a lot of customers globally. So, we're looking about a stable vendor here with a very good software platform, which allows you to start small and grow the product into your customer base. So, just moving on, just to recap really, 3 key reasons why you as resellers should look at DataCore. Be different, stand out from the crowd. Don't just get yourselves into price wars where everybody's bidding the same product. Look at the opportunity and bid something different. It's obviously easy for you because we have UK support from a sales and pre-sales and after-sales perspective. It's easy for your customers and it's cost-effective as well. And for you as resellers, the ability to increase your revenue and margin. And with that, what we mean is the ability to sell everything that goes with DataCore. So DataCore is a software platform, as you can imagine here. And, of course, you need to have the ability to sell everything that goes with that. Hardware, software, additional softwares, and also storage. So with that, I'm going to hand back to Keith so he can go through the real nuts and bolts of DataCore for you. Thank you very much.
I'm going to hand back to Kevin.
Kevin, sorry.
Okay. Jason made the point there that we deal with all sizes of customers, whether it's from small, medium enterprise all the way up to large corporates. And we see this in a real world, from everywhere from test and development, going through to storage consolidation, high availability business continuity systems. 95% of our customers have DataCore providing resilience to their back-end storage, all the way up then to additional performance for tier 1 apps, providing performance for virtual desktops. And there's a lot of talk about big data and the cloud environment as well. So we are broadly applied. Well, where do we see the opportunities? Well, Sand Symphony V is the product that we have at DataCore. It is a storage hypervisor. It differentiates us from traditional hardware appliances. We're not locked into a physical box, which means then that the opportunities that are available to you are a lot broader. It's a cost-effective solution. We're not tied down to that physical hardware. So where there are budget restrictions for new project rollouts, applying a software-defined storage hypervisor is more logical. Where, for instance, you're looking to deploy a server virtualization project, you would be looking to provide business continuity at the application layer. So, where I've got virtual machines, they're able to port between physical machines. I've got high availability, therefore, of my applications. To do the same thing with storage in a traditional manner would mean to have twice the amount of physical disk arrays and have those replicated. And that's very expensive when we look at the traditional manufacturers. But by putting in a software platform, the underlying disk becomes less important. We can just use dumb disk. It's a lot cheaper, but we're still, therefore, allowing that same level of resilience from a software layer. We need to negate the need for expensive rip and replace when we're looking at storage renewal projects. If one of your clients has had whatever vendor storage over the past 5 years, they're looking to bring in new storage, traditionally, they would go and have a look at all of the other vendors there. There would be the beauty pageant in front of them, and the end result would be that whatever they had would be ripped out and replaced by the brand new vendor, and so on and so forth. It carries on. Of course, the day that that new vendor arrives on the scene into the data center is the day that that physical array starts to depreciate in price. Now, we don't care about the underlying disk. We can carry on using that underlying disk because to us it's just dumb storage. But we add a management layer there. So we've got customers who have got disk arrays, albeit not production data, it might be archival data, that's 7, 8, in some cases 10 years old. For disaster recovery plans that are being implemented and being reviewed, where we're looking for off-site replication. With high availability, we're eliminating a single point of failure. But what's really important, and Jason mentioned it earlier, is to differentiate yourself from the crowd. As a reseller, and coming from a reseller background myself, I know at great cost the fact that when we go in and talk to end users, we talk about being vendor independent. Well, we're only as independent as the vendors that we are selling. So if I'm a reseller and I'm selling vendor X, I'm up against other resellers also selling vendor X. Well, what differentiates myself? Well, I could say that I've got great professional services behind me. Well, so what? So's the other reseller down the road. What this offers you is the chance to be different, chance to actually gain revenue and additional margin through offering something that is scalable and flexible and completely different from other people. And for your customers, what's in it for them? Well, we provide a storage environment that is accessible. It's always highly available. Because we're software defined and not hardware defined, it's cost effective as well. Again, offering you great opportunity for margins. The software, and I'll get into where we sit in an environment later, but we sit on Windows servers, which we cut down the operating system on Windows, but that allows us to use a 64-bit operating system and the RAM on those servers for caching. That makes us exceptionally fast. If you're looking to deploy a VDI project, then you need fast underlying disk. Now, you can go out and buy solid-state disk, and all very well and good, and go ahead and do that. But you also need additional caching in front of that, and that's where DataCore comes in. And it's flexible. With a hardware-defined storage array, you're either fiber channel typically or iSCSI. You can only have a certain amount of disk and a certain type of disk in that array. And manufacturers talk about modular scalability. That means you go out and buy another one of their boxes. With us, it doesn't matter. We can be fiber channel, we can be iSCSI, we can be both at the same time. We do not care about the underlying disk. It can be any type and any amount of disk. You can grow by simply adding disk. And by putting different disk types into a pool, then that allows us then to auto-tier. So, accessible, cost-effective, fast and flexible. And what are the results then? Okay, so we see faster Tier 1 apps. We have continuous availability. There's less time spent on storage management, storage migrations. And we have a more responsive, agile and competitive IT environment. Well, what's the result of that? Well, for yourself and for your customer, peace of mind. So what other opportunities are there? Well, Jason mentioned that there's hardware as well that needs to be part of a DataCore deployment. We are not disk, we are software. So we require servers to sit on, and we need the underlying disk. And there will be a certain amount of refreshing of disk that's needed. There'll be a certain amount of refreshing of a storage area network as well, in terms of switches. That could be required. But importantly, it's a professional services engagement as well. A typical 2-node DataCore deployment would require around 3 days professional services. These are your professional services. This is where you're going to make money. Through the architecture and design, through the implementation and installation, through assessments of the storage environment, and doing proof of concepts as well. So we have an accreditation called the DataCore Certificated Implementation Engineer, or DCIE. We will help your engineers to get accredited, and that then gives you the professional services capabilities. Now I'll hand back to Jason, and we'll talk about where we sit in terms of virtualization strategy and a little bit more about the feature set.
Thank you very much, Kevin. So just wanted to briefly overview where DataCore sit in the virtualization environment, and then take you through some of the features and functionality of the product. So a lot of you will already be involved in desktop virtualization projects, virtualization, VDI, server virtualization projects with the likes of VMware, Windows, etc. And really the kind of flexibility that you get by deploying desktop virtualization and server virtualization is easily moved into the storage virtualization market. So, key reasons why people are deploying desktop virtualization and server virtualization is simple flexibility. Flexibility of management, ease of management, and making better use of the resources they've already got. And by deploying DataCore into your storage virtualization infrastructure, you get exactly the same. You make better use of what you already have. You make what you already have faster. You create a single layer of management. So all of that helps you to knit your virtualization environment together right the way from the desktop all the way through to your servers and your storage environment. So I just wanted to have a quick chat about some of the features and functionality that DataCore has. As you can see from this slide, they've got a really vast portfolio of features which, just to cover off, are all part of the same software stack. So it's nice and simple. I'm not going to cover each one of these. I'm simply going to pull out some of the key ones, some of the ones that enable you to, again, differentiate yourselves when you're talking to your customers. So I think one of the key things to just remember is that DataCore is completely open. Being software, it can run on pretty much any Windows server, so all the key manufacturers. So that gives you and your customer that open environment. It can run on any storage system, so again it's completely open, and it can help you provide a highly available solution to your customers. So I think one of the key aspects just to look at here, one of the key features is thin provisioning. I'm not really going to go through what this is. If it's thin provisioning, DataCore do thin provisioning in a very similar way to everybody else, but one of the key things I wanted to mention there was that DataCore was first to market with thin provisioning back in 2001. So it gives you an indication of the maturity of the software product. Auto-tiering is a feature and a function which a lot of manufacturers have started to talk about more. Obviously for a little while now we've been looking at opportunities to tier physical disk, through SSD, through SAS and nearline SAS disk, and we've had the ability to put those technologies together for some time, but it's software products like DataCore that allow management of how that data flows through those tiers. And that is an automatic procedure within DataCore. DataCore has the ability to promote hot data into faster disk and obviously move, shall we say, less used data into the lower tiers, into the slower disk, helping your customer to make the best of what he's got. Okay. One of the other features to look at here is the sync mirror feature. Well, this provides high availability within your storage environment, allowing high availability between DataCore nodes, which of course is crucial for customers that are running this in mission-critical environments. Another area for us to look at is the continual data protection and recovery part of the software. This is definitely worth a mention here. A lot of other vendors have another bolt-on piece of hardware or software needed to use continual data protection, but CDP in the DataCore product, it's part of the same license, it runs on the same hardware, which means that the solution delivered to your customer is simple. For people that perhaps haven't come across CDP in the past, this is best described as Sky Plus for your data. It's the ability to monitor changes within the customer environment and allow you to rewind or forward wind data if in the instance of a failure. So that's a nice simple way of putting that. Because DataCore is open and they don't care what hardware platforms they are running on or managing, it enables you to migrate from different storage platforms. So it enables you to migrate from a tier 1 platform into a more cost-effective storage product with very little downtime, very simply as well. And of course the unified storage platform as well, delivering both NAS and SAN, again out of the same appliance, so offering the ultimate in flexibility, adding flexibility and features to your customer's environment. So I'll hand back now to Kevin, and he's going to show you how it all bolts together.
Okay. Thanks, Jason. Well, a typical SAN Symphony V environment will have 2 DataCore servers. Now, these are standard servers. These are HP or Dell or IBM or Fujitsu. It doesn't matter. These could be brand new servers, or they could be servers that have been repurposed from elsewhere within the environment. They could also be virtual machines, just to preempt any questions that might be asked later. They don't have to be physical. And we create an environment where there is no single point of failure. So, from our application servers, we would have multi-paths down to multiple switches. Typically, these could be fiber channel, these could be this could be an iSCSI SAN over Ethernet, and it could be a mixture of both. We do have customers where their primary path is over fiber channel and the secondary path is over iSCSI. Now, I don't want to get too technical at this point, but it gives me a prod to invite you to a product demo. If you would like one online, then please let us know, and I'm happy to do that. So we'll actually have a look at the software underneath the bonnet, if you like, and we'll show the failover, failback, the asynchronous mirroring. We can look at continuous data protection and auto-tiering and all the other features that Jason mentioned. So we would have 2 standard servers running Windows 2008 R2 with SAN Symphony V sitting on top of them. We cut down the operating system. There's a lot about Windows that's fantastic as a storage controller. There's also a lot about Windows that we don't want. For instance, we don't want our automatic updates turned on. So we've been doing this for a long time. We know how to deploy this in a real world. We keep it away from any other domain. It sits within its own server group or work group. And then the underlying disk. Well, this could be legacy disk that your customer already has from whichever vendor. or it could be brand new disk. In a small environment, it could be disk that's directly attached to those DataCore servers. In a larger environment, it could be their EMC, NetApp, IBM, whoever's storage. We're not competitive to that storage. We complement it. We're giving additional features and functionality and scalability to it. So we add performance through the caching that we have. We cache the reads and the writes through the DataCore server, and we use the RAM to be able to do that. So under 2008, we can have up to 1 terabyte of RAM on the servers. We will be moving in the next couple of months or so to a 2012 platform, which will give us 4 terabytes of caching available, caching the reads and the writes. 2 DataCore servers are active. This gives us then continuous availability. We can extend. We just add disk. Once we see that disk, we can add the disk to the pool. We can do this in real time with no downtime at all. Auto-tiering allows us to have different disk types from different manufacturers in the same pool. We write a block of data, we write it to the fastest disk within the pool, and we can move it to slower disk and then slower disk still. We can do that with 15 different disk types. If you're able to get back to me naming 15 different disk types, then I'll find a prize for you. The typical environment would have 3, maybe 4 different disk types: solid state, fast SAS, slower SAS, SATA disk, etc. For off-site replication, we have an additional node. We can add additional nodes and replicate asynchronously. This could be to a dedicated disaster recovery site. This could be to another production site with production data, and that replication can be bi-directional. So site A can replicate to site B, and site B to site A. Or it could be a cloud provider. We're able to migrate from old disk to new disk without any downtime by mirroring within the pool. So your disk from vendor A is now out of maintenance. You're looking to add a new disk where you don't have to go out and buy expensive arrays. Just an inexpensive disk will do. And we're able to replicate. We can expand, adding disk at any time. And we can scale out. We can have up to 4 DataCore nodes within a server group, and we could load balance across them. We can have up to 99 asynchronous replication relationships. So you could have a customer with a head office in Basingstoke and lots of regional offices around the world, and they could replicate back to the head office, and likewise the head office can then replicate out to a disaster recovery site. So we can see here that we can start very, very small, from virtual machines with directly attached disks all the way up to an enterprise environment. There are no limits. So, our software deployment choices. You can choose the size and make of a particular server. So it's not a case of telling an end user that they have to go with vendor A. If your end user is a HP house, we use HP servers, we'll have HP disks. If they're a Dell house, Dell servers, Dell disks. It doesn't matter about the disk, it could be Hill, it could be any manufacturer. You can use dedicated servers or virtual machines. They can be new or they can be repurposed. And we can upgrade from old software to new software. Software, as we all know, has different versions. We're always updating, we're always improving it. We're fixing problems, as any manufacturer does. What we need to be able to do is we need to be able to upgrade that software in a live environment with no downtime. And if we've got 2 DataCore servers synchronously mirrored that are active, we can do that. Okay, so thank you very much for joining us this morning. So our to-do list then is to get on the phone, speak to your Hammer account manager. We are happy to come and visit and talk about our partner program. We can talk with more technical detail and do product demos. You're invited to our offices in Reading. Have a look under the bonnet, as I said before, at the software, and see how we can differentiate yourselves from the other resellers that are out there. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'll quickly have a look at the question panel to see what questions have been asked. If there are If there are too many, then we might leave it. And I noticed that not too prolific on the question front, so give myself or Jason a call and we'll be happy to get in touch. Once again, thanks very much for your time this morning. I noticed with a level of embarrassment that I've gone 2 minutes over the allocated time with you this morning, so I hope that's not going to cause too many problems. But once again, thank you very much for your time.